What up? Happy New Year.
Hey, Happy New Year, guys. Good to see you. First
Happy
show
New
of
Year, guys.
2025.
Thanks for the first show of Cops React. Got Scott Castrita, Steve Ferdine of Fugitive Watch. I'm Marc of Stolen 911, and we're going to watch some videos here and give you our opinion as police officers, former police officers, retired police officers, what's going on, what we make of these videos, and our opinions are our own opinions.
Yeah.
And that's what's cool about being retired. We could say and do what we want.
Finally.
All right. So Scott, tell us about you sent us a video, Steve and I video the other day. I haven't watched it yet. I just queued it up here to watch it, but I already know what it's about. Tell us what's going on.
Because I was all pissy about it.
Yeah, you're kind of upset.
I'm just it's basically this guy in San Francisco. This guy's like a serial car burglar, and I mean, he's a felon, been caught with a gun. He's rammed police officers. He's run from police officers. Right. I mean, he's a big time freaking felon. And
allegedly.
No, he's been convicted. He's been convicted.
Has he been convicted?
He's been convicted prior.
Okay.
So they know who he is. No, there's no ledge here. This guy's a jerk.
Let's watch the video here from ABC News, and then we can talk about it.
All right.
Oh, that's not me. Wrong guy. That was a good-looking dude there. What am I here?
September 7th of last year, an SFPD undercover team spotted someone they call a known auto burglar, 27-year-old Robert Sanza, with a juvenile who was breaking into cars at the Palace of Fine Arts. Police followed the suspects into Oakland, where they had to use spike strips to make an arrest. Now, in a deal arranged by Judge Bruce E. Chan, Sanza is pleading guilty to 5 felonies: receiving stolen property, accessory after the fact, possession of a firearm by a felon, concealed firearm in a vehicle, possession of ammunition. Sanza has a decade-long history of similar crimes, including car burglary, grand theft, hit and run, shoplifting, and domestic violence. He's been on probation several times and reoffended, yet Judge Chan is giving Sanza probation again.
We were prepared to go to trial. We wanted to see accountability for a man that has continued to victimize people in San Francisco and wreak havoc on our streets.
The prosecutor...
Isn't that awesome when you see a prosecutor actually say stuff like that?
Yeah, I mean, this is what it's supposed to be about, right? That's their job. And the judge just went. They asked to give this guy two years in prison, and this judge wants to give him 4 months.
Let's
let him back out.
Let's watch the rest. Let's watch
Keep
more.
Going.
Prosecutor offered a 2-year state prison sentence during pretrial, but Sanza and his public defender turned it down. So after tomorrow's sentencing hearing and with Judge Chan's intervention, Sanza could be out of San Francisco County Jail after less than 4 months in custody.
I have to say that this is a failure of the criminal justice system.
To learn more about Judge Chan's reasoning, the I-Team purchased the certified transcript from Sanza's change of plea hearing. Chan said, "I'm not here to satisfy what some media account says or what some people from some other state think should happen." He appears to be referencing the victims in past I-Team reports. On September 1st, 2023, Sanza broke into this couple from Indiana's rental car and took cash, an iPad, and a $3,500 laptop. He was on probation for that when he got arrested in the current case.
What do you say? Surprise, surprise, surprise. I mean, you keep doing the same thing, you expect you're going to get the same results.
Judge Chan admitted he's now offering the plea deal over the objection of prosecutors, saying, "The easiest thing will be just to have you go to jail for 2 years, and you're not my problem anymore."
That sounds great to me.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, have him go to jail for a couple of years. That's your judge. That's your job, Judge. You know,
I'm going to make it my problem to see if we can do something different. Chan said he will monitor Sanza personally to make sure he's taking advantage of the probation department programs for employment and counseling.
Scott, we can hear you.
And if Sanza doesn't, he faces the maximum, 3 years, 8 months in state prison.
It's just crazy how this is
this is okay in San Francisco. That's, to me, it's mind-boggling.
Officer Riley Bandy had a run-in with Sansa April 27th, 2022. Sansa was driving a stolen vehicle reportedly used in multiple car break-ins that day. Police had him on a dead-end street in North Beach, but he sped away, took out a garage on Alta Street, sideswiped cars, hit Bandy's patrol car, injuring his back, drove onto the sidewalk, damaging more homes, took out another car, causing more injuries, before a foot chase and arrest in China.
I took a class in 2001, a search warrant class, and the guy who taught it, he put up on the board, separate the threat from society. And
this guy's a threat.
How many multiple situations we've had here that's kind of proven that.
Yeah. Sansa faced a slew of charges, but in a plea deal with a different judge, all of them got dismissed except for a single count of evading an officer.
Now that's also, that could be the DA's office agreeing to that just to get an easy conviction. Don't want to go to trial.
The DA
I'm talking on that previous one. I'm talking on that previous one.
Yeah.
She wasn't the DA back then, right?
Right.
Well, she wasn't the DA back then.
Okay.
Riley Bandy has had enough. He retired after 10 years on the force.
The insanity of all of this, if this is how it's going to be, it's just not smart for me to be a police officer in the city I love anymore. It's madness.
Bandy worries how officers will continue to do their best when someone like Sansa gets released on a plea deal after a plea deal again and again. Now, Sansa also has an open case out of Contra Costa County for fleeing a police officer and resisting arrest. And 2 special allegations in that case. He has a prior felonies in Napa and San Francisco, and then he committed second-degree robbery as a juvenile. So a long history, and he'll be out soon, and hopefully will go the right way, but who knows?
And with all of that, with that lengthy.
Okay, come on. He's going to go the right. I mean, talk about just ridiculous that this judge, I'm going to monitor him personally. Yeah, right. You're going to monitor him personally. How about
he is going to monitor him. He's going to get an alert. He's going to get an alert when the guy gets arrested for something else.
Yeah.
And then he's going to say, okay, now come back in.
Yeah.
Let's put this to the test here. I know Dan Noyes, he's going to be all over this. We'll find out, but we can do our own research too. I go in and I purchase court records once in a while to get to what's available to the public. Let's just see. What is this? January 1, right? So, or January 5th or 6th, whatever date is. We'll see. We'll see what happens in the next 2-3 months. See if this guy is in jail again, and we'll keep following this.
It's not a matter of whether he's in jail. How many victims are there going to be before he finally is caught again and put in jail? How many victims do you think there were that he's been arrested, they know about? Those are just the stuff they know about. How much did we all know that he did a whole lot more that he didn't get caught for? And this judge feels like he's just going to. Yeah, right. Allegedly. Okay. So as far as I'm concerned, the judge, if you feel so secure that this guy's not going to, I don't know. I mean, unless he's sleeping, the judge is sleeping with this guy's mom or something. I don't understand. Hey, there's got to be a reason. I mean, accountability. And I know it's hard to watch because we're watching people at the highest levels of our government aren't held accountable. And now we have people like this that are not held accountable, and this judge is like, "Oh yeah, it's good, he'll figure it out." I go, "How about this, Your Honor? How about the next time he commits a crime, you do the time, right alongside of him? I bet you he wouldn't let him out then, but he doesn't care because the guy this judge probably lives in a gated community with friggin' security and stuff, and he's not worried about him being victimized. But what about all the people that are being victimized, all the cars that are being broken into, and the guy's driving his car on the sidewalk, running into houses? I mean, luckily he didn't kill anybody, but I mean, we all know what this guy will do not to get caught. And you think that he's going to try? You think that if he gets caught this time, he's just going to go, "Oh, here, cuff me up and take me in. I've been a bad boy." I mean, I wish I had this judge's name, and I wish I had his information. I think people really should give him a call and ask him, I don't have to answer. No, you do have to answer to the community. You do have to answer to the community. Absolutely, you do.
remember the judge in
Next time he
Palo
runs for
Alto?
re-election.
Yeah, the judge in Palo Alto was recalled.
He's there till 2029. I checked. He's there till 2029.
So you remember the judge in Palo Alto when Brock, that kid was convicted of rape, and then he never did probation time. So
Right. And the other thing too is that the judge says, I'm going to give him a chance to take advantage of programs, the probation department. Well, for one thing, the probation officer's probably got a caseload of like 500 people, maybe 1,000 people, and the state prison, the California Department of Corrections, they have programs. He could take advantage of the programs. He could take in the prison.
In the prison,
and if he's serious about rehabilitation, he can take advantage of the programs in the prison system and have an occupation when he comes out of prison.
I would have made him write a letter to each and every victim that they know and apologize. That would probably take him how many months just to knock some letters out to all the victims that he victimized.
AI and do it,
No. You give him a pen and a piece of paper and make them. And I know that I've done this.
I bet he has really neat. I bet he has really neat jail writing.
Yeah. I can't get in trouble for this now, but I have given them, remember, Steve, I'll give you a choice. You can either write sentences. I will not do. One time this guy kept honking his horn I made him write 100 times. I will not honk my horn. I will not honk my horn. And I told him, I said, you can write that 100 times or I write you a ticket. It's your choice. And I was stuck on doing traffic control in that spot. That guy sat there. He wrote him on a little 3x5. I think I still have him. And he couldn't spell honk. He couldn't spell horn. And I was like, okay, we have a way bigger problem here than you honking your horn unnecessarily. It's like the system. I mean, here's where the system.
Honk or hawk, like hawk two.
Honk. No, it wasn't hawk two. No, I wasn't a hawk two. My horn. No. It definitely wasn't that.
Right.
But no, I watched that and it fried my bean. I was like, not again. I mean, you see these judges over the years. I mean, not only were we police officers for almost 30 years, but we've been doing Fugitive Watch and we've watched these stories. So I guarantee, I'm going to tell you right now, if you went to Vegas, you would get no odds on the fact that this guy's not going to commit another crime because they know. They know. Or unless this judge is going to personally, follow him around, and he's not.
Well, I think it's time for the people of the city and the county of San Francisco to launch a recall
they should recall that. They should go back and look at all the other cases. I would love to see the other cases and how many people he's like. Well, I mean, there has to be a reason why he did that. And like I said, you think it's far-fetched. I don't know. Maybe the judge is sleeping with the suspect's mom or sister or brother. I don't know.
I'm sorry, man. I just keep it. My kids joke to me right now. Hey, your mom, right? Always your.
I mean, it's so
hashtag your mom.
Yeah, it's just so crazy that he would just go. He would tell the DA, they're asking for 2 years. They weren't even asking for the max. I think the max is like almost 4 years. They were asking for 2 years. And I think I'm going to give him 4 months. What? 4 months? I'm sorry. And anybody out there that's watching this, if you're as pissed off as we are, because again, if you think this is the only guy he's done that too, I doubt it. I would love them to go pull up his docs and see everybody else that
I love how I love how Dan Noyes reached out to the victims that were visiting.
Yeah. Well, hopefully the judges in the other 2 counties he still has pending cases in will send him to state prison.
Yeah.
That'd be good.
I guess we could hope for that, but that's the same way. Well, we won't get into
are the
levels of government
for the new Prop 36 effects. Does it can it be on old cases from last year, or does it have to be new cases? Do you guys
That's a
know?
good question. I
Don't know.
I don't.
If you know, put that in the comments because we want to know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know.
Who's
if
the
it's
attorneys out there?
retroactive, right? Is it
Who are the
retroactive?
prosecutors
I
out
don't
there?
know. I don't know. They're out there.
That's a good question.
Good question.
yeah.
See, look at this.
That's a
We're
really
retired.
good question, Mark.
Yeah, good. Okay, cool. All right, next week we're drinking whiskey while we're live on TV.
People,
We're still gonna look for a bar.
You don't
where we
know.
can do
You
ice
don't
cream
know.
this
You don't know what's in there.
I bet
people want to know.
people want to know. All right,
I
cool.
want to know.
All right, let's move over to
It's hard to move on from this one, guys.
I
Hard to
know.
move on.
We're gonna
But I
follow
will.
up with him,
But I
and
will.
we're gonna see. We'll keep track of this one and see what happens.
Yeah.
So, okay, let me fix some. Oh, I'm just gonna say this in the break right here now, and I can edit this out later. But it will be on, it's on a stream, so I can't do it now. But when you guys cough or something like that, try to block your mic or shut your mic off or something like that.
Okay. I know.
You can hear it really loud. Clearing your throat, anything like that.
last one.
Okay.
Got
I
it.
know. Disgusting. Okay. All right. Let's see.
Human
All right.
body
So
functions.
Scott, you told me about this guy who set up this really cool camera system. His car, I believe, was a Nissan. I guess they attempted to steal it like multiple times, and I'll tell you why that in a minute. But anyway, you shared this video with us about this. It's on Fugitive Watch. This guy, car owner's camera setup gives Memphis police a good look at the suspect. So we got it right here, and we're gonna play this back.
Watch as police say this thief tries to reprogram a Memphis man's Nissan Maxima in an effort to steal it. You can see a light flashing as he appears to connect the device to the car's computer. It's about that time that he looks to the rear toward the back seat. Perhaps what he didn't know is the owner of the vehicle has installed a camera back there. It captures the alleged crook dead in the act. Many of you online wanted to know how the car owner was able to catch this act from this angle.
That was a good shot of that guy's face.
At least he referred to him as an alleged crook and not an alleged gentleman.
Alleged gentleman.
Yeah.
All right.
We've got
The
dash
gentleman.
cams that are cloud-based that work specifically off of a cloud storage. We've got dash cams that work off of a memory card.
Mo Ayash, general manager with 901 Sound, says this is what you need to know about the difference in cloud-based systems and the ones that require memory cards.
There's pros and cons with both units, right?
Ayash says with cameras that use memory cards, if someone steals your car, there's no way of getting your footage because the card is in the camera with your vehicle. He says when it comes to cloud-based systems, you can retrieve your video from your phone or a computer. He says you should know cloud-based camera systems sometimes require a subscription. Ayash says these cloud-based systems run anywhere from $250 up to $450 plus the installation. He says it really depends on what kind of system you want.
The good thing about a cloud-based system is if they happen to actually steal the camera, it's a good chance that the video's already made it to the cloud.
Oh yeah, I mean we have
stolen.
Yeah, we have videos of people sitting there like this trying to pull the camera. They're so stupid. They think it's in the. They think, oh, now I got the camera. You idiot.
So we gotta have Joel on and tell us about these camera systems.
Yeah, I actually called Joel. He's the owner of OnView Security Systems, and he's got there's some pretty neat technology out there right now for, he doesn't really do cars, but for a lot of stuff for homes and stuff.
Right.
But there's some really cool stuff out there for security. Now, the one thing that video didn't show you, what really stopped these guys, because they kept trying to steal his car. Now it's funny because you brought this up many shows ago about the Nissans and Infinities and how they're doing it, and they got that. And then I was actually warned about, because I happen to own one of those, that to keep the thing garaged, what have you, and because it was 3 of them stolen in my city in one weekend.
Scott, if you guys don't know what we're talking about, just like the Hyundais and Kias were stolen a couple years ago and still are being stolen, the next big trend is already started are Infinities and Nissans, and the thieves now use these keypads that are meant for locksmiths that they could buy off Amazon, and they're programmed with the systems to go ahead and fake a key for these cars. And the Nissans, vehicles, which are also Infinities, are very susceptible to this. The software's out there. All the bad guys have it. So if you have a later modeled Nissan, a push button car, you want to be really careful.
Yeah. But anyway, I was going to say what really stopped this guy, because he'd get the car. The guy had a kill switch installed inside the car. So it was goes to the computer. So you have to have the code to get past that. And again, it's crazy that we have to go through. You got to go through all that. But like, even, I mean, a couple years ago, you and I were talked about using the air tags, and I have air tags, and it's cheap. I have them in everything now.
Yeah,
I have air tags.
My cat's losing air tag about every 3 months.
One of my nephew's friends, one of his best friends, had his car stolen, and he had a kill switch on his car, and they still stole it.
Yeah,
they tow it.
Well,
They push
no,
it. Tow it.
it was.
Doesn't know. He just woke up in the morning, it was gone.
It was one of those Subarus. Steve sent me a picture of it, and I go, oh yeah, that's it. But no, he actually took. Didn't he? He took like one of the main component out of the car, and it was still gone. I go, oh, they must have towed it. They must have picked it up on.
So
because.
Look, the old adage is, if they want it bad enough, they're gonna find a way. They could push it away. I've seen in Oakland, I've seen them pushing SUVs down the street that they wanted to steal with another car, with another stolen car, because they're not going to use their own. And so, you know, if they want it, or tow trucks. I have a case of a Dodge over here in North San Jose, near the stadium, of it being stolen with a rogue tow truck, and they actually caught these guys up in Marin County. I'll try to do some follow-up on that, although they can never connect it. We know it was the same people, but they were never charged in the Santa Clara County theft. But yeah, if they want the vehicle bad enough, they'll get it. But interesting. We'll take a look at these cameras. I do know that I think the camera that he used was actually a home-based camera that he modified to work inside of his car.
Right. Well, I know I have cameras, and I know Steve does. We have cameras that we purchased later that are in our car and pick up movement. But like he said, if it's not transmitting to the cloud, then, and they steal your car or whatever, there goes your footage.
Right. Okay, let me go ahead. Go ahead, Steve.
That story out of SoCal, that the victim was kidnapped by the robbers. And his wife was tracking the car with her cell phone, and didn't know that her husband was being kidnapped.
We have that now.
That one, Mark? That's this guy here. That was a Tesla.
Yeah, we want to watch that one.
Yeah, let's talk about that.
Okay, let's watch a little bit of the video here. This is the victim talking, happy to be alive.
I'm here. I am here. His right eye still bruised from a terrifying experience this week. Corona businessman Donald Pierre explains he's a man of faith and fortitude. Wednesday, December 18th, around 9 a.m., Pierre was driving his Tesla along the 15 freeway at Indian Truck Trail and stopped at a red light. That's when another car rear-ended him. Severely shaken, he called his wife and got out of the Tesla.
After that, I was on the ground being choked.
And I said, oh my gosh, did they T-bone you, or what's going on? And before he can even answer, I just heard like a struggle situation.
Wife Sandra mistakenly thought Good Samaritans were helping her husband, when the truth is they were beating him.
Now, this was in the morning, like 9:30 in the morning, correct? Yeah, it was. It was in the morning. It was.
Yeah,
I believe so. Yeah, it was in the morning.
To steal his car, hold him hostage, and more. Donald Pierre says the attackers were 4 black men who spoke with foreign accents.
The more I tried to yell and scream, he would tell me he was going to kill me.
Are you allowed to describe people? I didn't know we were allowed to describe people anymore. Anyway.
No, yeah.
Okay, whatever.
He would punch me. 2 other guys were kicking me.
The strangers forced Pierre into the back seat of their silver Ford SUV, seen in this surveillance footage, demanding he lead them to his house in a nearby upscale gated community in Corona. One of the culprits jumped behind the wheel of the Tesla, and both vehicles took off. By now, wife Sandra is tracking the Tesla. believing her husband is behind the wheel and may be disoriented from
That's how I track my daughter with the Tesla app.
the collision. But he is now home with 3 of his captors, who begin to ransack the place and snatch valuables.
Here's the designer bags. Here's the jewelry. Here's the watches.
The intruders leave, backing out of the garage, and that's when Donald Pierre bolts to a neighbor's house.
Okay. They knew he had designer rings, watches, bags.
I think they saw they were probably watching the neighborhood and they saw him drive out and he's driving a Tesla. And so basically what they did was, and this happens a lot, is they ran into the back of this car, making him, they didn't hit him hard, but hard enough that, oh man, I just got in an accident. And as soon as he got out of the car, they kidnapped him.
Yeah, but that was the plan, right? So
my
my point is, if it's somebody that knows of him or somebody he was told, the crooks learned about him by somebody else, like, you should knock this guy off. He's got designer bags, he's got designer watches, they have cash in the house.
Cash in the
right? I
house.
mean, how many times this happened in San Jose in the Asian community, Steve, on the east side over there, right? All the home invasion robberies, right?
Back in the 90s, that they were like,
it was epidemic.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Right.
The home invasions that was like every weekend. There was
All
at
right,
least one good one.
Let's see the end of it here.
It's me, open the door. Eventually, wife Sandra, now in contact with authorities and neighbors, realizes she's not following her husband, but rather a very dangerous car thief. Her heart pounding, she follows the Tesla some 30 miles away to a shopping center in Buena Park. She says she recorded the driver after he ditched her husband's car and walked away with her husband's Gucci satchel filled with cash.
He's like an older guy. He's not young.
Yeah.
I'm sure she was really nervous.
Oh, I know. Can you imagine that? She was following and then seeing these guys driving her own car, this guy driving her car. And I mean, and at least she kept the distance. Now, Mark, I don't own a Tesla. I know you got a couple of those things. And they don't have videos inside the car, but there's like a lot of video around the car.
No,
correct?
actually, there is a way to, I don't know if it records the video. I use my Tesla a lot to record video, especially as a private investigator. But I don't know if you can look at I don't think you can look at the cab on the way back. You definitely cannot watch the cameras. Like, I couldn't log into the car right now. If, let's say my daughter's driving it, I could not go on there right now and watch her inside the cab. The car doesn't allow you to do that. But I can see, with someone getting in the car or they walk up on the car and they try, the security systems activate, and I can see who gets close to the car, activate it. So, but I'm curious, we don't know, Scott, what happened here, right? We never know if they identified these guys or not. I went through the story earlier. Do you know, have you got any updates on this? Have they identified and made arrests?
I tried to research it, and this is all I could get was this one news story. So as far as I'm aware, they're still outstanding.
Steve,
let me set it up, Mark. The many Tesla owners across the country are complaining because police departments across the nation are impounding Teslas that are in the area of serious crimes, hoping to get video that the Tesla has recorded. For example, if a person is murdered and there's a Tesla parked nearby, the police department are impounding a Tesla, and the owner comes out and their car's gone because they're hoping that the Tesla's recorded the homicide.
Yeah, there's this. I just found this lawyer as you're talking about it. It talks about it. But before we watch that, I want to say, in this case of this guy who was robbed, we never saw any footage from the Tesla, and there would be footage of the rear ending happening. There would be footage of, what those cameras are all around that car. And
if they were beating him on the side of the car, wouldn't there be footage of that?
Unless he wasn't recording, you have to have a thumb drive or some sort of drive plugged into the car. And or the bad guys know this and they took the drive out. I never heard about if the car was recovered. That story didn't go into that, so we need to follow up on that. But there should be some good footage from the Tesla if it's there, if that drive is there, if that drive was in there. Teslas, I know mine aren't. They're not uploading to the cloud the footage. Maybe they do in a critical incident. Maybe they do in a critical incident. I don't think they are. I think right now it's stored. Although I think it is stored in the memory of the Tesla that the crooks would not be able to get to it in case of a serious.
Well, there's another
event.
question for our viewers.
So let's watch this video where this lawyer, Steve Alito, explains this process that Steve is just talking about. So
all right, let's see.
All right, here and see what old Steve has to say. And remember, this guy's a lawyer, guys. So
yeah,
it's about half true, right?
Sent in to me by everybody. Thank you very much. This version's from roadandtrack.com, an institution I used to write for. Great people. Lucas Bell wrote this. Teslas are being towed by police to collect onboard video footage. And by towed, we mean basically seized and impounded. So your car witnessed a crime. The police consider your car to be a very, very important witness. So they're going to impound it and do what they can to get that footage off those cameras on board. Tesla's cars and SUVs are outfitted with an extensive array of exterior and interior cameras, which the cars use for features ranging from driving aids to security monitoring. It's the latter features caught the attention of law enforcement in California. In Oakland, they've begun getting warrants for the footage captured by the vehicles, and even leading to some owners' Teslas to be towed amid the department's efforts to secure high-quality video evidence. So,
yeah, so I actually witnessed a robbery go down in downtown Oakland a couple years ago, and I had my car caught some of it, and I was on the phone with 911, and I gave all that to the officers. I offered it to them.
Right.
But there was other witnesses. There was one lady I remember. She had her cell phone out, and she just captured everything. And it all happened so fast, before I even knew it, these guys were gone, and I had hit the record button on the car. And, but this is the issue. I know a lot of my friends on the Highway Patrol, and it was just coming about when I retired. When there's an accident now, the officers, especially serious one, the first thing they ask, okay, is there any Teslas here?
Really?
Yeah, because they know that Teslas have great footage. They just do. And eventually, all the cars will have that. Just Teslas are kind of known for it. As a private investigator, Tesla is a great vehicle. It blends in. In California, there's a lot of them.
They're not unique looking.
Yeah, they're not unique looking, especially if you get the basic ones. They don't have all the lowered engine specs and mattings and stuff. That's for young people, right? Us older people don't drive cars like that, correct? So
pickup trucks.
No. But they're a great car to blend in, and I've used my cameras on my Tesla many times for PI work.
Yeah, but what do you think about? Can you imagine you roll up to the scene of a shooting, murder? You see a couple Teslas sitting there, and you could just. I mean, I know there were certain reasons why you can tow vehicles. Is that going to be now going to be put into the? You could tow it because you feel that it might have evidentiary value.
If they need it, they need it, and they can use the evidence laws to seize those vehicles. That's what he's talking about here. So, but generally, he said in some cases, right? If the person can't be contacted, if the cops see the Tesla there and it's right next to the shooting, and they can't get a hold of the guy who owns a Tesla, then they may have to seize it. But I'm sure in most cases, most people go, "Oh, officer, I have a thumb drive, and here's a thumb drive. Everything's recorded. Here you go." That should be good enough.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, I mean, I know on my house cameras, I've had them come knock on my door, and they said, "Hey, we know that you have video cameras all over the place. By any chance?" And they tell me what to look for. And I've on many occasions I've come in and I've shown them the camera system, and I've let them take whatever video that they needed. But I would be as a car owner, I would feel the same way. But I got to tell you, I wouldn't be too happy if I came out, my car was gone, and they said they towed it because they think that it may have caught something on
Right.
video. You
Right,
know,
right.
I probably wouldn't be really happy about that.
No,
You
I
know?
get it.
Yeah.
Who
would?
Some guys over visiting, especially somebody Sancho, they got to explain why their car got towed.
maybe in front of maybe the judge has a Tesla. When that guy breaks into it, they'll have video of it.
Yeah, I hope so. I mean,
Why was your car towed from AJ's?
yeah.
Hey,
Total.
I had a case there. I had a case that led me to AJ's not too long ago.
They got shots.
Scott, I was trying to get you to go with me.
Mark, they got shots for that. They got pills too.
A private investigator ends up in a strip club. Go figure. Yeah. All right. It's all for work. Don't bring your ATM money. Don't bring your ATM card to a strip club.
Yeah.
Good tip. Good tip for people. All right.
Yeah.
Hey, so let's move on. Something more serious here. Critical incident in San Antonio. What's going on here?
This particular case is a San Antonio police officer tries to make contact with this pedestrian for jaywalking, and the suspect refuses to cooperate and takes off running. The officer pursues him, and the suspect takes out a handgun, and it turns from a simple pedestrian stop into a shooting.
Let's watch the video. I got it queued up right from the moment of contact.
19 for vehicle. We're going to be at the right side of the parking lot.
I'll go over the front of my car. You're detained right now. Walk over there. We're crossing the street without a crosswalk. Go walk over there.
The male apologized, but refused to follow the officer's repeated instructions to approach the officer.
So he apologized. What people don't understand is it doesn't matter. He's been witnessed committing a crime, infraction, right? And jaywalking. It doesn't matter. The cop can detain him at that point. Correct.
So is he walking in an area where there's supposed to be no pedestrians? I don't really.
Well, jaywalking, right?
Yeah.
Jaywalking in that part of San Antonio is still illegal. I know in some parts of California now they're getting away with jaywalking rules. But my point is cop witnessed them committing an infraction, just like if we pulled over somebody for running a red light or something like that, and you're now detained.
So they weren't looking for this guy. They weren't out.
Well, we don't know that. I mean, the
that's
police
what I'm saying. With
officer,
the video,
this guy may have been causing problems to residents, and the officer is aware of it. It's his beat. He's been looking for this guy because the businesses are complaining about him, we don't know. We don't know. But for whatever reason, he has made a legitimate pedestrian stop on the guy.
That's where I'm at. The guy.
Different reaction to this.
That's what I'm getting at. The guy is saying no, you're not going to bother me, and it's no, you don't understand. You're being detained. That's the way it works. I just witnessed you. I just witnessed you. Right. I just witnessed you.
Keep going and show him what happens after that.
Okay. He then dropped one of his backpacks in front of the officer and ran across the street into a nearby parking garage.
My arm, man. I swear. Stop. I'm sorry. Dude, I ain't looking for an apology. I'm sorry. I fucking you know, but I'm sorry, man. Take off. Oh, but this running.
While running toward the garage, the male dropped his second backpack and removed his jacket. The officer chased the male into the garage and announced on the radio that he had one running. The officer yelled at the male to stop, but he ignored the commands and continued running between cars in the parking garage until the officer lost sight of him. A second officer on an unrelated incident at the intersection of Loop 410 and Jones Maltzberger heard the officer announce over the radio that he had one running near his location.
All right, I'm on my way.
The officer got into his patrol vehicle and began driving to the parking garage. Upon arrival, he located the suspect running from the parking garage and saw the suspect jump an iron fence. The officer stepped out of his patrol vehicle and yelled commands at the male to get on the ground, but the male ignored the commands and kept walking away. The second officer got back into his patrol vehicle and drove to the 800 block of East Rector Drive, where he located the male hiding in tall grass at the top of a ditch. The officer got out of his patrol vehicle and ran toward the ditch where the individual was hiding. The officer then pulled out his taser and issued commands for the male to get on the ground, but the male continued to ignore police commands. As the officer continued to issue commands, he observed the suspect holding a gun, posing a threat to officers. The officer drew his gun and fired several rounds at the suspect, who had begun running in the drainage ditch. The officer also advised the other officers on scene that the suspect had a gun.
He has a fucking gun!
As the officer crossed East Rector and approached the railing, he saw the suspect in the drainage ditch raise his gun. Another officer on scene was yelling at the suspect to drop his gun. The officer then fired several rounds, striking the suspect in the chest. Here's the suspect running with a gun in his hand toward several businesses.
Still had the gun when he was running. That's a good shoot. He's already pointed it. He can shoot him.
Yeah.
This is the
there's
gun
more to
recovered
this, though.
from the suspect at the scene. Officers provided life-saving measures to the suspect at the scene prior to EMS arrival. Through the course of the investigation, it was determined the suspect, while in the ditch, shot himself in the head. The suspect, identified as 33-year-old Jeffrey Shop, was pronounced deceased at the scene by EMS. Investigations into deadly force are comprehensive.
What's the rest of it, Scott?
No, that's the part right there that got me. I was wondering, that's what I was asking, was this like a welfare check? Were they looking for this guy? Because they didn't talk about that. And the guy was out there where he was walking. It just, was this a suicide by cop? Was this, I mean, he didn't actually shoot at the officers, but I'm saying the shoot was fine. With the officers.
Okay, that's what I wanted to be sure we were on the same
I'm
page.
100%.
Okay,
I'm 100%. What they did, they had a dangerous situation. They needed to stop it.
Yeah.
But I know that then the guy ends up shooting himself in the head.
I was confused, like when he was taking those shots at him running through the creek there. I thought, wow, does he still have the gun? Right. And obviously I'm looking at on my screen here body camera footage. Obviously the cop saw he still had the gun, and then they later show that. So I was like, okay, he obviously sees that the suspect still has the gun. So
well, he also put on in the video, and he was running with the gun towards occupied businesses where people were at. So the officer had no choice. He's like, I got to stop this threat, because once the guy gets in a populated area, I mean, we know how that goes. I just feel that there might be more that comes out later. This guy obviously, again, comes down to it's not the officer's fault at this point. The guy might have he may have had some mental illness. He may have been dealing some deep depression. Maybe he wasn't. I don't know what his purpose was, but I mean,
I looked at his Facebook page. Yeah, he looked like he might have been having some mental health issues.
It's terrible.
But based on my experience as a beat cop, I'm thinking that this officer, this guy with the gun matches the description, and the officer is contacting him because he matches the description of a more serious crime, and he's going to make contact with the guy, and he's telling the guy, well, you know what, I'm stopping you because you jaywalk. But in reality,
that was what I was saying. Yeah.
You know what? You match the description of somebody we've been looking for. Who's either armed with a gun for a more serious crime, and then the guy knows he's dirty, takes off running, and what makes me think that also is the fact is that that officer running in that San Antonio heat to go for jaywalking. No, he's chasing that guy for something else.
Well,
and
that's my point, though. Like the jaywalking, whether a more serious kind existed prior to that or not.
Yeah.
What I'm trying to let people that aren't police officers understand, it doesn't matter. The cop watched him commit an infraction, I'm assuming, jaywalking in San Antonio. So he has the right to detain.
Oh, absolutely.
Right. But this is what I get into, like when there's cities, and I'm reading about Denver doing this now, or somewhere out in Colorado doing this now, in Oakland, even San Jose do it at some point. They're not allowing you to enforce small little mechanical violations or registration violations and stuff like that, which it doesn't matter. These are laws that are on the books that are on the state laws, but these cities and municipalities are coming about with these rules like we don't want officers enforcing that, because it picks on the wrong people or something like that. It's like, no, you're taking tools away for officers to make. If it was a case of something more serious that happened, the officer then, like you said, Steve, used the jaywalking as, okay, now
it's a pretext stop.
It's a pretext to go ahead and to figure out what's going on.
And the Supreme Court has ruled pretext stops are legal.
Right. So that's what I don't like to see when they say, oh, you can't stop this vehicle because of expired tabs. You can't stop this vehicle because of tinted windows. You can't stop this vehicle because no front license plate, because you're just picking on people. It's like, look, if there's issues with officers picking on people, that's another issue to deal with. That's why you have body cameras and car cameras. If your officers just picking on people because of a certain color or race, something like that, that's an issue you have in your department. You better work on that. But to take these tools away for officers to detain people, that is wrong. And I know they say, oh, the data says this, that. No, this is why things are happening in San Francisco and Oakland the way they are, is because people, these little things are being enforced. These guys are
some of the things
cars and guns
too I want to talk about. I know we've talked about how dangerous car pursuits are, but Steve was involved in a shooting. Steve, remember your shooting where you were chasing the guy on foot, and as the guy was running, Steve realized that the guy, as his arm was going back, he was shooting at Steve. Steve was like, whoa, this guy's shooting at me. So then Steve started sidestepping. You could tell the story, Steve. I mean, it was a pretty intense foot pursuit. Just because the guy's didn't turn to face Steve, the guy was shooting at him as he was running. He was shooting behind him. Yeah. Right, Steve? And then Steve got a little, it was pretty scary because Steve called me up and it was like, then they couldn't find the gun. Remember that? They couldn't find the gun in the field.
You made it up, Steve?
Yeah. No, he's like, no, seriously, the guy was shooting at me. And Steve, I think you emptied a whole magazine and then you reloaded another magazine. I'm not going to make fun of if he didn't hit the guy, but the guy ended up dumping the gun. And luckily, they did a really good search out there, and they found the gun in the weeds. That the guy had. But chasing people is dangerous, and and just because the guy's doesn't stop, turn, and take a stance to shoot at you doesn't mean that he doesn't intend to shoot at you.
And not only that, people don't realize when you get tired when you're chasing somebody.
Yeah.
And so when you
get tired.
It's like when they say with a dog chasing the car, when he finally catches it, you can't drive it. But an officer chasing somebody, you better have enough juice left when you catch him, because if he's got more juice than you, you're gonna wind up on the losing end.
Right.
Well, this has been awesome. I think other than the occasional coughing and my earphones going out, this thing worked pretty good. But Steve and Scott, you can see them at Fugitive Watch, fugitive.com. Steve, what would you like to say? Is everybody guilty?
No, we want to remind everybody that anybody you see on any of our platforms are to be considered innocent unless proven guilty in a court of law. Also, law enforcement may consider some of these fugitives to be extremely dangerous and not make any attempt to apprehend, arrest, or detain them. If you recognize any of the fugitives, call our hotline or give us a tip. Actually, send us a tip at tips@fugitive.com, tips@fugitive.com.
And I'm a private investigator now. I run the website Stolen 911, and if you need a PI or something stolen, check it out. I'm working more cases,
something
guys.
Found, not something stolen. Something that you said something. If you need something stolen,
that too. I you know what I steal? You know what I've been stealing? I've been stealing back stolen cars from the crooks. So like I go into Oakland and I can't get Oakland to recover cars from me a lot of times, or on the weekends, stuff like that. So if I can drive the car and the victim has hired me, or the company's hired me, I will actually go steal the car back and drive it to a jurisdiction that will recover the car for me.
Wow.
And I'm not stealing a car. I'm not breaking laws. I'm driving a stolen
You
car.
have permission from the owner to take
I have
the
permission
car.
to the owner, and I'm always make sure that there's no wants in that car for a more serious felony, like that car was used like in a robbery or something like that. Then I would never touch it. But sometimes sometimes you just got to do this day and age.
No, I just want to say, we want to remind our viewers to, like the kids say, smash that like button and the subscribe button.
All right.
Yeah, definitely. And we're gonna hopefully keep up on it's not alleged that judge let a dangerous criminal back out on the street to victimize you. It happened. He's doing it. So let's see if we can follow up on that and keep you guys updated, and hopefully the victims, I guess maybe they can go after the judge. I mean, since they can't go after the suspect. Like I said, I think the judge can do a little bit of time.
I've got my fingers crossed that one of the judges in one of the other counties he still has pending cases on are going to send him to prison.
Yeah. I don't know.
Well, hey guys, we'll be here every Monday, 7 p.m. Pacific time. Please share and tell everyone about what's going on. Oh, my new favorite YouTuber is Lance the PI in Sacramento. And he goes out and he live streams him driving around Sacramento, and he chases the scanner and he goes to calls. And I've seen him like roll up on a dude that got involved in a stabbing live. And it's kind of interesting. I kind of like it. I kind of want to maybe get
you need a name like that. You need a cool name like that, Lance.
Well, you remember when you're a little bit older than me, but Scott and I will remember there was a TV show back in the 70s, Inch Eye Private Eye.
Oh, no, I thought it was the other one.
It was Hinch Eye Private Eye, right? Yeah. All right. Thanks a lot for watching, and be safe. We'll see you guys next week. You can find us at Fugitive Watch and Stolen 911. Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.